At Belmont, Portia wants Bassanio to wait before choosing one of the caskets. She has already fallen in love with him and is afraid of what might happen. She asks him to delay for a day or two, anything to prevent him from possibly picking the wrong casket. However, Bassanio insists on choosing one immediately because he is too anxious. Portia reluctantly agrees but asks for music to be played during his decision since it is not an ordinary choice. The song that is sung, starting with "Tell me where is fancy bread," has worrisome lyrics. Bassanio looks at the caskets, reads their inscriptions, and is reminded by the background music that fancy can come from the heart or the mind. The words seem to warn him not to judge based on appearances. As a result, Bassanio rejects the golden casket, which represents outward shows, and also rejects the silver casket, considering it something common. Instead, he chooses the casket made of plain lead, which is the least attractive if judged solely by its appearance. Once Bassanio makes his choice, Portia prays quietly for help in controlling her emotions. She watches eagerly as Bassanio opens the lead casket and finds a portrait of Portia inside. Although the painting is beautifully done, Bassanio feels it doesn't do her justice. Next to the portrait, there is a scroll instructing him to go where Portia is and claim her with a loving kiss. Overwhelmed by his success, Bassanio follows the instructions, and Portia, who was composed just moments ago, now gives herself and everything she owns to him. She also gives him a ring as a symbol of their union, which he must never part with. Bassanio promises to wear the ring for the rest of his life. Nerissa and Gratiano congratulate the lovers and reveal that they, too, have decided to get married. They ask for permission to have their wedding ceremony alongside Portia and Bassanio's. Portia agrees to the double wedding, and Gratiano boasts that he and Nerissa will have a son before the other couple does. While the lovers enjoy their happiness, Lorenzo, Jessica, and Celerio arrive. Celerio brings a letter from Antonio to Bassanio and explains how he convinced Lorenzo and Jessica to come along. As Portia welcomes Bassanio's old friends, he opens the letter from Antonio and turns pale. It contains bad news. Portia pleads with him to share the cause of his distress, and he reveals that he just read the most unpleasant words ever written. He confesses that he is deeply in debt to a dear friend who, in turn, owes a dangerous enemy. Bassanio asks Celerio if it's true that all of Antonio's ventures have failed, and Celerio confirms that none of Antonio's ships have returned safely. Even if Antonio had the money to repay his debt to Shylock, it wouldn't help because Shylock is already planning to demand justice and the full penalty of the forfeited bond. Jessica testifies to her father's determination to have Antonio's flesh instead of accepting 20 times the owed sum. When Portia learns that Bassanio's dear friend is in trouble, she offers to pay any amount to prevent his suffering due to Bassanio's actions. However, they decide to get married first, and immediately afterward, Bassanio must go to Antonio's aid. Portia insists that he cannot lie by her side with a troubled soul. In Bassanio's absence, she and Nerissa will live as unmarried women. Bassanio then reads Antonio's letter to Portia. Antonio expresses his desire to see Bassanio before he dies, explaining that all his plans have failed, his creditors are becoming cruel, his wealth is dwindling, and his bond with the Jew is forfeit. However, Antonio assures Bassanio that all debts between them are settled and he only wishes to see him before his death. Portia understands the seriousness of the situation and urges Bassanio to quickly attend to his business and depart.